If you want to take out a long-term rental contract, you need a stamped visa, an Emirates ID, and an open bank account with a checkbook. So let's assume that you have all of these things. How exactly do you find a property to rent in Dubai? And what exactly is that entire process? Okay, so the first thing you need to decide on is what exactly your budget is and where you want to live. And depending on your budget, that's going to dictate where you can actually afford to live. Because say for example, you've got a very small budget, you might not be able to afford it in certain places where you actually want to live. So that's the first thing you've got to figure out. After this, you then need to find a property for yourself. The website I used, and is probably one of the best in Dubai, is Property Finder. There's lots of listings, and that's the one I would highly recommend. Okay, so on Property Finder, you can find all different properties to rent. So you can set within your budget, the area, etc, etc. So for example, if we're on Property Finder right now, you want to live in the Dubai Marina, you want to rent the property, you want, say for example, you're looking for a studio because apartment prices are quite expensive, and you want a furnished apartment because you don't want to have to buy fridges and washing machines, etc, etc. So if we click that, it will then show us 85 different options, all in the Dubai Marina. So if we go down here, there's all different towers. Some are good, some are not so good. So for example, Marina Diamonds, the budget towers in the Marina, they're not that great. Same with Marina View. Marina View's okay. Live Residence, that's a very premium tower. This one's a really nice tower, but again, it's quite overpriced for what it is. Silverine, very nice tower, I like it a lot, but again, 95,000 dirhams a year for a studio. So again, very expensive. Also a big problem with Silverine is you don't have balconies in every single apartment, so that's something to be aware of. Here, West Avenue, for example, you click on this, I know this one, it's a very nice looking apartment. So you click on here, you're thinking, okay, look through the pictures, everything looks okay, there's a balcony, nice, very nicely furnished. You're thinking, great, okay, I'm gonna have that apartment. So then you're gonna check out this is very important. So you wanna check out the agent. So you wanna have a good agent on your side. So say that these are called White & Co. Real Estate. So let's type in White & Co. Real Estate. We go on, we see them here, 454 reviews, 4.9 star. They're gonna be a good agent. So if you click here, click on their reviews, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, all looking great. Click on their website. Website looks good, professional. I'm thinking, okay, this is a good agency to use. Okay, great. So we like the look of West Avenue. If you go down here, this was this apartment right here. However, a quick tip for you, look, this was listed 20 days ago. And a problem I found was I'd often call the apartments and they're already taken. I bet you anything, if we called them right now, this apartment would be taken. So yeah, a quick tip for you, after you've called up all these different apartments and you've realized every single one of them have been taken, because all the nice ones usually get taken straight away, what I did is I went to sort by, I clicked here and I clicked newest, and that gave me all the latest apartments which are coming out most recently. So what I would recommend, because the apartments get taken up so quickly, I would check a few times a day. I would check once in the morning, once midday, and once in the evening. If you see an apartment which is at a good price with a good agent and it's furnished, etc., call them up straight away, book in a viewing straight away. And if it's with a reputable company, it might be worth getting in an informal offer. Just be like, look, okay, I want the apartment, I'll take it for X amount, for X number of checks, and then you can go see it. Because there's nothing worse than finding the perfect apartment, you've delayed too much, and then you lose it. Okay, so you see the perfect apartment which you want to move into. So how exactly do you make an offer? All the rent is based on a yearly basis, and what landlords like, they like to be paid in as little checks as possible. So what I mean by this, they either like to be paid in 4 checks, 2 checks, or 1 check. And the less checks you have, the more negotiating power that you have. So for example, I paid in 1 check, and that meant I got 5,000 dirhams off my rent. So especially if you're going for an apartment which is going to be popular, I would highly recommend trying to pay in as little checks as possible, because otherwise you're just going to get outbid and outbeat by someone who's willing to pay in a less number of checks. So another thing to make note of is the rental prices are slightly inflated. So it may be worth trying to do some negotiation with the landlord. Okay, so the offer has been agreed by the landlord and the agent. What happens next is you'll pay a security deposit. So this deposit will be to hold the apartment for you while they're writing up the lease and tenancy agreement before you move into the apartment. It is worth noting that there are actually lots and lots of hidden costs you need to think about. So if you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend watching this video here. Okay, so the offer's been agreed, you've paid the security deposit. The next thing you need to do is sign the lease agreement. And this is vitally important that you read through the entire contract very, very thoroughly and make sure there's no hidden clauses you need to be worried about. Okay, so you've signed the lease agreement and you've handed over the checks. Now it's really important that you did sign up for a reputable, good agency, because what's going to happen next is the property management is going to take over and they're going to handle the signing and the registering of the Ajari, which needs to be done. And also they'll set up the utilities and DWA connections, etc., etc. So this is where it is vitally important that you do work with a reputable agency, because for example in my case it was all very streamlined, it was all basically done for me, and they just sent me documents via email and said, Tom, sign this, pay this, it's been registered. And during this point, actually, they're going to ask you for lots and lots of deposits. For example, an Ajari registration, a DWA deposit, if you're on district cooling, a deposit for AC, etc., etc. So finally, after you've done all of these things, you're finally ready to move in at your specified move-in date and ready to enjoy your apartment or villa.